Why does the Torah record the entire discussion between Avram and the Ephron regarding Ma'aras HaMechpelah? Welcome to the Siva Shalom on all Parsha for Parshas Chayei. All of our learning this year is L'Zecher Nishmas Rabbi Hauer, Rav Moshe Yisrael ben Rabbi Binyamin, especially this Shabbos, which marks his Shoshan. The beginning of the Parsha is, of course, marked with the discussion of Avram burying Sarah. And the Rebbe says the Torah doesn't waste any words, not even one letter. So why does it use so many words to describe the back and forth about paying full money in order to buy this place that would have been given to him for free? The Rebbe tells us some fundamental ideas, several in a very short piece, several fundamental ideas that are going on here. Firstly, he describes that one would say, very simply, that this is a continuation of the discussion of Avram's level of chesed. Of course, we know Avram is the embodiment of chesed, and therefore it makes sense that the Torah, which records in Parshas Vayera his incredible acts of Achnasas Orchim, would continue speaking of another level of chesed, not only chesed with those who are alive, but with chesed with those who are already in the next world. But it goes far beyond this, says the Rebbe. And it's found in the word how Avram Avinu is always asking and always dealing with achuzas kever, an estate for burial, as opposed to the Bnei Ches who are saying kever, Kivores Misisham, whatever they say several times the word kever, and they never say the word achuzas kever. What's the difference between the estate for burial and just a place for burial? The Rebbe says that a place for burial is simply a place to cover a body. And that's how the Bnei Ches see it. But not so Avram Avinu. Avram Avinu, who of course is the Amud of Emunah, he's the one who crowned HaKadosh Baruch Hu over the entire world. As Tosfos and Brachos says that the words Elokei Avraham are the words that say that Hashem is the king of the world. And we know this from many, many sources about Rosh Hashanah and Malchios, that Avram is Malchios. And so Avram is the one who crowns the entire world with Emunah, with the knowledge that HaKadosh Baruch Hu exists. But there's a level of Emunah that is expressed in just how careful he is to acquire a place that is an achuzas kever, an estate, a proper place for Sarah to be buried. And what is that level of Emunah? That's Avram Avinu's Emunah in Tchias HaMesim. You see, the Bnei Ches, they know perhaps the dignity of a body deserves that should simply be covered. But Avram doing something much more significant than that. He's placing Sarah in the place that is the way station until such a time for Tchias HaMesim. And in this way, Avram is giving us a hint that he sees and he believes in the concept of Tchias HaMesim. Now is not the time to go into it at very great length, but it's worthwhile to mention that the Mashgiach, Rav Moshe Wolfson, in a piece that he writes about Tu B'Av, describes how the great moment of bringing the Harugei Beitar, those who died in Beitar, were murdered in Beitar, to eventual Kever after years of not being buried. That great moment changed the entire trajectory of the Jewish people, so much so that we added a bracha to benching in every single benching. But why is that so? Again, we're not going to explain it in the fullest fullness. But the idea is that the Romans knew that they were trying to destroy the Jewish people. And Klal Yisrael knew that the Tchias HaMesim that will come in the future will be a function, as the Gemara in Sanhedrin says, of the burial of those Jews. And therefore the burial of the Jew is the great faith that there will be a future for the Jewish people. And for that reason, when we were able to bury the Harugei Beitar, it was Hatov HaMeitiv. We knew that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was demonstrating that we have a great, great future, that they had not become decomposed, and they eventually made it to burial. This was the great moment at the destruction of the second Beis Hamikdash, entering into the great Golus, that we could know that our future is very, very bright, because the burial represents the very future of the Jewish people and the rejuvenation, the reviving of the dead that is Tchias HaMesim. And so that's Avram Avinu. Avram Avinu here is taking achuzas kever. It's not just a kever, it's not just a cover, it's not just a place to put the body, but it is the place that Sarah will be until the time of Tchias HaMesim. There are many other levels that, again, in a very short piece, the Rebbe indicates to us that Avram Avinu didn't want to receive a present because of Sonei Matanos Yechia. This was below the level of Sarah Imenu, that it should be something that was given that makes Avram's acquisition of it a little bit lower, makes him perhaps angling for something. But also, Eretz Yisrael, when it is owned by the nations of the world, is lower in its madrega. Avraham Avinu wanted to lift it up out of its tumah, back to its purity, if it was to be the place for Sarah Imenu. So here the Torah, which it could have said very quickly, he found another place, he bought it from them, and so on and so forth, but it records all of the dialogue, all of the back and forth. In just a few words, the Rebbe explains to us that Avraham Avinu is teaching us emunah and chiyas hamesim, chesed that we could do for other people even after they're gone, the sanctity of Eretz Yisrael and the importance of redeeming it from the nations of the world, and also the character of not angling for free things, but rather sonei matanos yichyeh. It's no wonder that in this wonderful moment of demonstration of Abraham's commitment to Sarah, there are so many levels of that which is being taught to us, some hinted only by the word of achuzas kever. Imagine if we would focus our learning and learn more and more and more and seek and seek and seek more of what the Chumash is telling us, how much we could discover if in only these few words. There are so many things to discover. We are, after all, the children of Avraham Avinu, people of Amunah, people of Chesed, the people of Eretz Yisrael, and the people of character. Have a great Shabbos.